If it's one thing that I've learnt over the last 20 years working in the IT industry and working with customers, is the only constant is change. Technology is evolving and iterating at a rapid pace, and customers are adopting this new technology to delight their own customers as well. Even if you think about the last 24 hours of your time, there would be a significant number of technology and services that influenced and impacted your own life. If we take, for example, the last 2 hours of my life, getting from my home to the studio here, there were several technology and services that I used to make my day a better day. So for example, I'm currently located in Sydney as a temporary accommodation, where I'm typically living in Singapore. So using something like Airbnb to provide a service that can give me a home rather than a hotel. Or perhaps I'm going through my workout routine and need an application to guide me. And so working with the Peloton app to guide me through how to exercise for that day. And of course, I want to listen to some music. So using something like SoundCloud, or perhaps I want to actually listen to podcasts as well. Now I need to get from my home to the studio. So leveraging something like Uber. Being in Australia, we use Uber. If I was in Southeast Asia, particularly Singapore, I'd be using something like Grab. During that Uber ride, using something like Coinbase, because I want to do some more research around cryptocurrency, since it's very popular in the press these days. Of course, I want my morning coffee. So before I arrive to the building, being able to pick up a coffee and perhaps a meal that was ordered in advance while I was in the Uber, therefore not having to wait in line. As I arrived to the building, I had to notify my colleagues that I had arrived and maybe collaborate with them in terms of sharing certain files. So why not use something like Slack to do that more efficiently? And then finally, as I checked into the building, due to the current new normal that we have over the last 18 months, having to check in to make more efficient or effective contact tracing. And so using the Service New South Wales application on my mobile phone for that check-in. And even going one step further with Service New South Wales, whether you now have the ability to have a digital version of your driver's license. And what that's really allowed me to do is leave my wallet, the traditional wallet, at home. Because coupled with things like digital wallet on my mobile phone for payments, coupled with the digitization of driver's licenses with Service New South Wales, my healthcare card, my loyalty cards, I no longer need that wallet. And so it's very obvious how technology has influenced me just over the last couple of hours. Hi, I'm Dean Samuels, and I'm a Chief Technologist with Amazon Web Services for the ASEAN region. Welcome to the live session for the ASEAN Summit Day 2 Keynote. I'm really happy to also invite my co-host, Shweta, who's actually joining us from the Singapore office. Shweta, how are you today?
I'm well, Dean. How are you?
Doing well.
Well, great. Well, my morning, as compared to yours, was pretty gadget-free, if I may say. But I agree, technology touches every single aspect of our lives today. Let me share how it helped me this morning. So I've recently switched to lactose-free milk for my morning coffee. And late last night, I realized there was none at home. I ordered some on Amazon Fresh Singapore and selected early morning slot for delivery. So there, thanks to technology, I could start my day with my coffee just the way I like it. And of course, I took a Grab to the studio. I mean, who needs to own a car in Singapore when our customer Grab is doing such a fantastic job? So that's really my use of technology this morning, Dean. And hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing well and staying safe. My name is Shweta. I head the business development for our media entertainment vertical across Asia Pacific at AWS. I've been with the company for about 3.5 years now and have the privilege of working closely with a lot of media customers in the region. Before joining AWS, I worked in the media industry for 2 decades in roles across broadcast and digital media and have really seen our industry go through multiple rounds of disruption and transformation, mostly led by the change in consumer behavior. I'm excited to be here and sharing with you some interesting stories of innovation, how our customers are innovating on AWS. For now, it's back to Dean.
Thanks, Shweta, and I'm really looking forward to co-hosting with you today. And an interesting bit of information, all of those organizations and technology that Shweta and myself just referenced are all AWS customers. But actually what's even more interesting is they're all customers that typically didn't exist over 15 years ago. So they've evolved their own businesses as whilst AWS has evolved as well. And we're really going to take that opportunity to focus on the evolution of customers with AWS over the last 15 years. We're going to take you through a bit of a journey and talk a little bit about some of the earlier pioneers that used AWS to deliver value and experiences to their own customers. We're then going to take you to the current day, the present, and how customers are evolving their own applications to cater for the needs, the new needs of their own end users, and to adapt to the new world that we live in. Finally, we'll take you through some of the future trends, where we see at AWS technology heading to deliver new experiences to our own customers. What are the industries and segments, or what are the technical domains that are going to be seeing disruption over the next 5 years? And of course, this being a live session, we do want to take advantage of the fact that we can have a live Q&A. So we're going to field some of the questions that may come in over this session and try and respond directly to you, the viewer, for any questions you might have. So let's talk a little bit first about early pioneers. AWS has been as an entity for the last 15 years, since 2006. Since day one, we've worked very closely with a wide range of customers to deliver the technology needs that they have to deliver experiences to their own end users. There's 3 specific customers I want to focus on because more than likely you, the listener, have heard of most of these. SmugMug is an organization that really started with us in the very early days. They're an organization that delivers the ability for amateur and professional photographers to collaborate and share content. SmugMug actually took up the Amazon S3 service in the earlier days to actually distribute their own content or their content. So Amazon S3 is a highly scalable, durable object storage service. But then over time, SmugMug saw an opportunity to leverage cloud for other use cases in their business. One of the features or services they provide is the ability to do things like resizing and re-imaging of content. And so they look to move a lot of their compute infrastructure that would perform that on premises into the cloud using services like Amazon EC2. And even very recently, SmugMug are even looking at new changes in their platform with AWS and moving to things like ARM-based processors with our Graviton processor, Amazon EC2 instance, specifically for cost savings. By doing that, they're able to save on their compute costs with AWS by over 40%. Now, Netflix is no stranger to AWS and to the cloud. It's a company that we partner very closely with. I'm assuming most people out there know who Netflix is, but if you don't, it's essentially an internet network television station. I'm probably simplifying it because they have over 200 million subscribers, over 190 countries, and deliver very premium content. Similar to SmugMug, Netflix started off by using Amazon S3 as a way to store and distribute their various media content. They then also saw an opportunity to use the elastic capacity of the Amazon EC2 compute platform to start rendering and transcoding their various video as well. But more recently, they've started to take advantage of a lot of the managed services in the AWS stack to provide things like recommendation engines or fraud detection using machine learning services like Amazon SageMaker, or providing cataloging information using something like Amazon DynamoDB, or actually doing analytics with Amazon Redshift, our data warehouse service. And then finally, we have Zynga, who have actually gone through a very interesting journey with AWS. Like SmugMug and Netflix, they were early adopters of the cloud. But as they grew in popularity and became very successful from games such as Farmville or Zynga Poker or Words with Friends, they actually saw an opportunity to develop and provide their own on-premises private cloud infrastructure that would cater specifically for desktop gaming and Facebook channel of gaming, which were the 2 areas that they really had the most popularity at that time. So they actually migrated off AWS into their own private infrastructure. But what they discovered very quickly is that they didn't want to be in the business of having to manage old or legacy hardware, and they didn't want to be in the business of having to perform maintenance on their platform or their data centers as well. They were actually replacing up to 100 drives every month in one of their data centers. Now, as a gaming organization, they simply just don't want to be doing that. They're not in the business of managing data center infrastructure. In addition to that, they were falling a bit behind in terms of innovation in that infrastructure because, again, they're a gaming organization. That's the business they want to operate in. And they saw the value of AWS as a cloud service provider where we could innovate on the cloud services technology on their behalf. So a few years later, after that migration, they started to migrate back to the AWS platform. And today, they're using various technologies to expand out into mobile gaming as well. And with mobile gaming, this has introduced the requirements to have a large elastic capacity for various services that they simply could not do on premises. So it's a very quick round of examples of customers who have evolved over the years. But let's talk a little bit about infrastructure itself from AWS. In 2006, when we started, we really focused in several key areas of infrastructure. Compute, so the ability for customers to be able to spin up compute capacity to host their applications. Storage, to be able to store securely and in a highly durable fashion various forms of content. And then databases, the ability for customers to provision very quickly database environments for their various applications. So in the compute world with Amazon Web Services, in the earlier days, customers were asking us for the ability to spin up virtual machines. So they wanted these isolated environments where they can choose what operating system to install along with their various applications. They wanted that ability to spin up that type of virtual machine in a dedicated Amazon Web Services hosted environment. And so that's where Amazon ECS and the AWS region was born. So Amazon ECS provides exactly that, the virtual machine in the cloud. The AWS region is that concept of a geographically distinct location that provides the various AWS services. But customers very quickly came back to us and said, well, you know, virtual machines are great, but they're not suited for every type of workload. For example, I'm adopting a microservices architecture. I require the ability to spin up very quickly compute capacity to support my high velocity of changes in my application. I also require the ability to have a higher density of compute for my applications because they are microservices. So we started to expand out into other areas of compute. First with containerization, so the ability to run containers in the cloud, but then also the ability to run serverless. Because customers were also saying to us that, hey, we need to actually run our application logic, and I'm not in the business of maintaining and managing operating systems or even containers. And that's where AWS Lambda was born, an event-driven serverless compute platform. We didn't stop there because customers also started asking us, we want the ability to now run containers and serverless and Amazon EC2 with virtual machines outside of a region. And we started providing those services to on-premises infrastructure and even at the edge. And so that's where we have services like Amazon Outposts, which is a specific dedicated hardware appliance, full rack or individual units of servers that customers can host on premises. We recently launched Amazon EKS and ECS Anywhere, so containerization that can be run on premises. And we've also got the ability to run compute or logic at the edge through the likes of Lambda at Edge and the newly launched CloudFront functions. And so we have got a customer locally, HelloDoc, which operates in the telemedicine business, and they really revolutionized the way that telemedicine works, for example, by partnering with other providers in Indonesia to actually deliver pharmaceuticals to patients as well, so partnering with Gojek. And so HelloDocs were an opportunity to achieve some significant cost savings without forfeiting performance in the compute capacity by moving some of their workloads, compute workloads, from x86 across to the Graviton processor. The actual migration was very seamless, and it is available for different managed services as well as Amazon EC2. If we look at the storage side, as I mentioned before, Amazon S3 was really our first storage service, or first service in general, that was available to customers. The likes of SmugMug, Zynga, as well as Netflix leveraged this service in its very early days. It was really targeted for the ability to deliver object storage and therefore content, web content to end users. But customers also came back to us and said, you know what, I've got different applications that do require different storage options. Perhaps a block storage for high performance access, or maybe a file-based storage for network file servers, Or perhaps I want to actually run a storage appliance on premises to locally cache content before storing it in the cloud. And so we brought out a wider range of storage services that customers can now actually pick and choose dependent on their actual needs. And a good example of a customer that's done this is Zalora, so an online fashion retailer in Southeast Asia, who's basically migrated their SAP environment into the cloud. But they saw an opportunity to take advantage of the additional compute and analytics capabilities in the cloud. They now have their data in the cloud with SAP. Why not be able to use that data and move it to an environment where they can analyze it and combine it with other data sources as well? So they use AWS Backup as a way to actually move a lot of or back up a lot of their SAP content to a centralized location to perform other analytics to get further insights from their customers. And then finally, we have the databases side. So in 2009, we launched the Amazon RDS service, which was essentially a managed relational database service. Now, relational databases have been with us for quite some time now. It's typically the workhorse of your web applications of the past. But customers soon realized as they were building these internet scale applications that a relational database was not fit for purpose. Perhaps they wanted to do some type of cataloging of inventory. Doesn't require a relational database. Perhaps they wanted to collect a large amount of streaming content and ensure the ordering or the time series of that data. Not suited for a relational database. Or maybe they needed an engine that could actually map a high range of different relationships between different entities in the database. Relational database could be used, but that's a lot of joins you're going to be creating. And so we had a look at the different use cases that customers were looking at database technology and actually brought out a series of different purpose-built databases for those customers. Whether it's Amazon Neptune to implement your graph database, or Amazon Aurora for your high scalable enterprise class relational database. Or maybe your in-memory database with something like Amazon Elasticache. So engineers and developers can actually now choose what type of database they want to leverage for their different types of application environments. When you start talking about microservices, it makes it even better because now you give a lot of autonomy to your engineering teams to choose the tool that is fit for purpose. One such organization that's taking advantage of managed databases on AWS is the Singapore Stock Exchange. So as the name suggests, they process a lot of the clearing and payments of securities on a particular platform. They were actually experimenting with blockchain technology. They deployed their own Hyperledger fabric on AWS with Amazon EC2. And the experimentation was actually driving a lot of success. The problem was they didn't want to manage a Hyperledger fabric. And so with Amazon Managed Blockchain, they're now able to actually have a Hyperledger fabric, but managed by AWS. And Amazon Managed Blockchain will actually use Amazon QLDB, the Quantum Ledger Database, a distributed ledger, under the hood, but SGX can actually focus on the applications that it's going to leverage the Managed Blockchain technology. Now, it's not only infrastructure that's also seen that innovation. We've also got innovation in microservices or application architecture. So the ability to now provision more and more microservices and expand capabilities or features in your various applications. But that actually brings some challenges. It adds a little bit of complexity in this distributed system. So for example, how do you ensure that you are observing or be able to trace the various workflows that goes through this architecture? Because there's so many more moving parts. Or how are you able to achieve that continuous resiliency? How you are able to achieve that or make sure that your architecture has been designed to handle service interruptions. Now, because we are processing more and more data every day, in the last hour, we actually collected more data than we'd have in the entirety of U2000. In the next 3 years, we'll actually collect more data than we have in the past 30 years. So having human beings or having manual processes to interpret and analyze data is simply not going to scale. And so at AWS, we've actually started to introduce a lot of machine learning-based technologies to help with a lot of the analytics when it comes to operations of your infrastructure. Whether it's something like Amazon DevOps Guru, which will focus on ensuring that your DevOps environment is operating as expected. It will preemptively detect certain anomalies. It will preemptively detect certain vulnerabilities or issues that might be occurring. Or what about things like code reviews? You no longer need to have developers that are sitting in a room reviewing code to ensure it's following best practices. Using something like Amazon Code Guru will actually allow a machine learning entity to actually do that review for you. Or what about injecting things, simulations into your, injecting faults into your platform to simulate an outage or an error? So rather than having to do that manually, using something like Fault Injector Simulator to actually do that. That allows architects to actually design a much more resilient, robust platform if you're continually, purposely interrupting certain components in that platform. It's otherwise known as chaos engineering. So it's important to remember that we're starting to use a lot more technology, machine learning technology, to take care of a lot of the operations of our platform. And so over the last 15 years, we've also seen an evolution in the AWS region in terms of global expansion. Up until today, we have over 25 geographically distinct regions around the globe where customers are able to leverage the various AWS services from our platform. In the next 12 to 18 months, we'll actually have another 5 regions that will come online. So that was a very quick recap of the evolution over the past 15 years. I want to now focus a little bit more on what customers are doing today. And with that, I want to switch over to Shweta in Singapore, who's going to take us through some customers who are leveraging other technologies beyond infrastructure on top of AWS. Shweta, over to you.
Thank you, Dean, for sharing how AWS has been investing over the years to build a robust infrastructure that our customers can leverage as they go global. Disney Plus is one such customer of AWS, one of the largest online streaming video services in the world today. They are leveraging AWS infrastructure for their global rollout and are available in 59 countries today across North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, and Latin America. In fact, Disney Plus launched in Singapore in February this year, and as part of their launch event, we saw iconic Disney characters light up the iconic skyline of Singapore, bringing much delight to their fans. My daughter is one of them. So leveraging the scalability and the flexibility of AWS infrastructure, Disney Plus was able to handle more than 10 million new signups within 24 hours of their launch in November 2019. And they have been growing very rapidly since then, reaching their first 100 million subscribers milestone within 16 months of launch. Recently, they announced that they are further expanding their use of AWS services to include more than 50 technologies such as machine learning, database, storage, content delivery, serverless, and analytics. AWS customers across all industries, be it e-commerce, education, gaming, or media entertainment, they are making much more use of video today to communicate and to engage with their end consumers. And live streaming is an important part of their video strategy. Now, as our customers are building and launching live streaming experiences, they are looking for scalability because the demand just keeps going up. In fact, last year's circumstances led to an unprecedented growth in video consumption across the globe. Speaking of live streaming at scale, it's impossible for me to not talk about Hotstar, who is also part of the Disney family today. Now, Hotstar has been expanding. In fact, they recently became available in Southeast Asia as well and continue to expand. And we at AWS have the privilege of supporting Hotstar as they continue their international expansion and also rolling out one innovation after another ever since they launched back in 2015. So live streaming on Hotstar peaks during IPL and other cricket tournaments as well. And in 2019 World Cup, Hotstar scaled up to support 25 million concurrent streams, which is a world record. Another fascinating number on this slide is 66%, which is the amount of reduction in end-to-end live video latency that Hotstar was able to achieve after they migrated their video pipeline from on-premises to AWS Cloud, leveraging our elemental media services. Latency is super critical to live sports, and we are amazed to see the kind of results that Hotstar team has been able to achieve. Another fantastic story about the culture of live streaming. Based right here in Singapore, BandLab supports musicians around the world with cloud-based tools to create, collaborate, and publish their compositions. Their platform lets the artists connect with millions of their fans and also with other musicians to be able to live stream their own performances. Last year, BandLab saw such a sudden and massive increase in the number of users and the amount of content being created on the platform. Recently, they announced crossing 30 million users milestone, which is super impressive. Now, BandLab has been leveraging not only the AWS global infrastructure to scale their platform across multiple geographies, but also using many of our managed services. For example, when an artist is ready to publish their song, the BandLab audio workflow triggers Amazon Elastic Container Service, Amazon ECS, and AWS Fargate to perform the final mixdown. Or when a user requests a live stream through BandLab, AWS Step Functions initiate a channel through Elemental Media Service. This way, BandLab is able to provide a scalable platform that the artists can use to create freely from anywhere in the world with no limits. Another change in consumer habit that companies recognize today is their consumers need to interact with their products and services, and therefore the need to build interactive video experiences. And this we are seeing across education, e-commerce, health and fitness, and of course, media and entertainment. So what exactly is the difference between streaming video in traditional live broadcast and an interactive live broadcast? On the left part of your screen is what we call a lean-back experience of traditional live broadcast. It's a lovely picture of a family watching television together, maybe a movie. But it is one-way communication. There is no interaction. On the right-hand side of the screen now, however, is what we call a lean-forward experience. It's a snapshot of a health and fitness app that shows a runner engaging on her training app. The runner is doing multiple things here, watching a video of the course that she is running, watching overlays of where exactly she is as compared to her mates in the virtual race. Her timing and real-time performance data is getting updated on the app as well. And she's able to see interactive overlays of encouragement like personal best times, etc. There's also a chat window for her to interact with fellow runners. So yeah, this is what we call a lean-forward experience. Now, many of you must have used or at least heard about Twitch. Twitch is an Amazon company and is the world's leading live streaming platform for gamers and for many other things that we love. Our customers have been asking us for a solution that can help them build interactive live video experiences just like Twitch. So we thought, why not build a new AWS service using the same technology that powers Twitch? Last year, we announced the launch of Amazon Interactive Video Service, or Amazon IVS, which is a fully managed live streaming solution. The service does everything you need to make low-latency live video available to any viewer around the globe. Amazon IVS handles the ingestion, transcoding, packaging, and delivery of your live content. Using its time metadata API, you can create new and engaging live experiences. So what does that look like? Let me give you an example from right here in Southeast Asia, one of our customers who's using Amazon IVS today. Gox is an Indonesian platform that offers live game streaming experience. Its USP is that it's a truly local brand with personalized communication in several Indonesian dialects and integration with local payment gateways. Streamers or gamers choose to broadcast themselves on as they're playing games on Gox platform, and viewers can watch as well as interact with them using a live chat function. Gox launched the first version of their platform in September 2019 using on-premises servers and a local content delivery network. However, the site struggled with high latency, often going up to 20 seconds, which is not really the optimal user experience. So Gox decided to move to the cloud for reliability, security, and flexibility. They chose to re-engineer their platform on AWS. Using Amazon Interactive Video Service, Gox was able to achieve 80% reduction in maximum latency, while also improving the stability of its gaming platform across web and mobile. Now, latency is super important when it comes to live game streaming, and I can speak that from my own experience of looking at my teenager daughter, who's big time into online gaming, and she would love to be able to chat with and get tips from expert gamers as she's trying to ace a new game. At this point, Dean and I would love to show you Amazon IBS in action.
Hi Shweta, and welcome to your Lean Forward Amazon IVS experience. Now, I'm definitely not an expert gamer by any means, but I do like live streaming. I like live streaming to share knowledge around Amazon Web Services and the cloud. But one of the limitations with live streaming is it's generally one way, like you mentioned, the lean back experience. And so I want to take an opportunity to demonstrate some of the features in Amazon IVS where I can stream and engage with the audience. And so Shweta, as you being the audience member, I'm going to put you to the test and engage you with a question. And the question specifically related to AWS history. So on your screen, you should see a question pop up, a poll. And the question specifically is asking, what was the first production service announced by AWS back in 2006? And so once you've seen that pop up on the screen, you'd be submitting a response. And I can actually see the response coming now, Shweta. And yes, you did get it right. Amazon S3, in fact, was the first AWS service launched in 2006. So it's a good example of being able to engage with your audience in a two-way interaction. And we're going to see other features and capabilities in Amazon IVS in the next section with Shweta. So Shweta, back to you.
Thank you, Dean. So as you saw, we were able to use Amazon IBS to create that lean forward experience. Now, here is how an e-commerce platform can potentially use Amazon IBS. So in this video, you can see a lady who is live streaming herself as she's reviewing some makeup products, right? So all the links to buy these products are appearing in real time on the side with some amazing deals. So yeah, this is another example. There are multiple such ways that Amazon IBS can be used to create that interactive live video experience. And in fact, Amazon.com is already our customer who is using this particular feature on their website. So with that, it's a wrap on Amazon IBS. And like you saw a couple of examples there, there are multiple industries which can use this, like education, gaming, streaming platforms, health and fitness businesses, and of course, media entertainment to create that live streaming, low latency experience. Let's move on to machine learning at this point, which is one of the most transformative technologies that we will encounter in our generation. Now, whether it's about enhancing customer experience or boosting operational efficiency or cutting cost, machine learning is helping organizations across industries tackle some of their biggest challenges. At AWS, we have more than 100,000 customers who are applying machine learning to the core of their business today, from predicting pizza orders to medical prognosis. For the media industry, it's interesting how AI and ML-driven automation can make media businesses more efficient, more responsive, and better prepared to delight their audience. Over the last couple of years, AWS has been building and launching a wide range of pre-built cloud-based solutions that already have many of our AI services integrated within the solution. On your screen is a video clip that we recorded of one such solution called Media to Cloud. Now, this solution leverages Amazon Rekognition, which is our image and video analysis service, to not only generate rich metadata for your video clips, but also automate the detection of black frames and credits, short changes, color bars. Using these features, you can automate tasks such as advertisement insertions and also adding benchmarkers to your content at scale. Many customers also tell us that they would like to use Amazon recognition to identify certain objects that are specific to their business needs. To achieve this, they simply need to upload a small set of training images and use Amazon Recognition's Custom Labels API. In fact, this particular example that I just showed you, we use Custom Labels API of Amazon Recognition to detect the animated characters in the video. Now, as content platforms are expanding their global footprint, they must often manage legal, regulatory, and compliance requirements of local markets, which can be such a huge task, requiring significant investments of man and machine resources. Today, AI services can be used to moderate various forms of content, including user-generated content at scale. Content moderation tasks such as blurring out faces to preserve privacy or blurring out certain objects or symbols in compliance with local legal requirements are just few of the use cases that I can think of. Let me share an example of a customer who is doing this at scale today. India-based video sharing app MX Takatak, which launched in July 2020, and went from 0 to 1 billion daily video views within a month. They wanted to provide a safe environment to their 150 million monthly active users. The app allows their users to upload their avatar content, and therefore they were looking for a way to automatically check whether the avatar content complies with the community guidelines. They are leveraging Amazon Recognition today to automate this task, which otherwise would be very labor-intensive. Earlier this year, MX Takatak won Amazon's Enterprise AI Award for Extraordinary Innovation in the Media Entertainment category that was announced at Amazon AI Conclave 2021. At this point, I want to show you a quick demo of one of the clips where I will be using Amazon Recognition. So let me just switch to my browser again and refresh my page. So this is a sample clip that we selected that has a combination of multiple scenes, just to show you the different capabilities that Recognition has. So what I'm going to do is, so depending on where this content is getting viewed, there may be one or two faces, for example, that you are not allowed to show in a certain geography. So Amazon Recognition has been able to recognize these 3 faces in this particular video. And if I say that I am not allowed to show this particular person's face in the video, I can simply go ahead and redact that part of the video. Similarly, for privacy reasons, if I'm not allowed to show, say, the number plate on the car, so if I redact that part of the video, so there you see on the number plate on the car is blurred. Now, if you are targeting this content at children and you are not allowed to show weapons like a gun, so you can go ahead and use Amazon Recognition to find the frames where there are guns and be able to blur that part of the video. This is just an example to show you the capabilities of Recognition really. And imagine if you are able to do this at scale for hundreds or maybe thousands of hours of content, it can significantly reduce the human effort that's required for the compliance process. Now, this is a quick snapshot of the architecture that we used to build this particular solution. There, as you can see, there are multiple AWS services that are being used here. What I will go ahead and suggest is that if you can use your mobile phone's camera to scan this QR code, this will open a blog post for you from AWS that will also contain the link to the GitHub repository for this particular solution. And like I said, this is a continuous task at AWS today. We are identifying common use cases and building solutions for them. and posting the projects on GitHub for you to get started with machine learning. So that was really it from me. Dean, back to you.
Thanks, Shweta. And it was great to see some of those real-world applications of Amazon Recognition and Amazon IVS, and to see that it can actually apply across a wide range of industries and different use cases. And so I want to take the next section to focus on other areas and other industries and technology that's going to really drive innovation, but more importantly, deliver new, unique customer experiences for other organizations as well. One of the areas that we are going to see a lot more disruption in, or a lot more availability, is around the fact that cloud services is going to be everywhere. Now, when we first started in 2006, we focused really on deploying that global infrastructure of AWS regions, hosting the various AWS services. But customers quickly gave us feedback that whilst that's great for certain workloads, due to either latency issues, perhaps, or latency requirements, perhaps a sporadic internet connection, or maybe certain data sovereignty requirements, they actually need the cloud services available closer to them, perhaps at the edge, or maybe even on premises as well. And so, using the technologies I mentioned earlier, such as Amazon Outposts, or Amazon EKS Anywhere, or IoT Greengrass, or Cloud Functions at the edge, customers can now deploy their various applications wherever they need it, not just a particular region. One such customer is Carnival Corporation, obviously an operator of cruise lines. Now, if you think about it, cruise ships are actually an ideal environment for smart cities. They're big. They can host or store or host technology and various types of devices that are required. They do have sporadic internet connectivity as well, so they have to be able to operate in disconnected mode. And probably most importantly, Carnival Corporation and others really want to focus on a seamless guest experience. And so they actually developed a platform called Ocean. And the Ocean platform is essentially an IoT ecosystem on a cruise ship. And so they've outfitted these cruise ships, the Princess line, with hundreds of kilometers of cabling, thousands of IoT sensors, and hundreds of different readers and portals that their guests can actually use. Coupled with that, each guest is allocated a medallion, a wearable, that they can choose where to wear it on them, whether it's on the wrist, around the neck, in the pocket. And what this wearable will allow them to do is more easily, for example, navigate around this cruise ship. Anyone that's been on a cruise ship can attest to the fact that it can be quite complex and hard to navigate around. Or perhaps they want to be able to pay in a seamless way for certain activities and other things they may use on board, and not have to carry around a dedicated card or even cash. Or what about if they would like to venture into the casino and have a chance at gaming, rather than having to carry cash or provide a credit card, using a particular device that can charge to their account? So there's many other applications, such as keyless access into cabins, that Carnival Corporation is looking at with the Ocean platform. But what's really interesting about this is that Carnival is able to gather a lot of insights about their guests' movements on the cruise ship and cater each guest to a unique experience. Also interacting with the various crew members on board, so each guest feels like that custom can feel that custom experience. Now, space and space exploration has been in the news of late, so I definitely did want to cover another area that we're seeing where cloud is going to be everywhere. Amazon's Project Kuiper is actually going to be looking at launching over 3,000 low Earth orbit satellites in the coming years. And what our vision is to actually deliver broadband internet services to anyone, even in remote locations. And so with this capability, regardless of where you're located, you can then access different cloud services regardless of where you are, anywhere, at any time. In the latest testing, a prototype of the environment has actually delivered up to 400 megabits of throughput using this constellation network. So we can see some really great applications of this technology going forward to deliver cloud anywhere. We're actually partnering with a lot of mobile network providers to actually extend the capabilities of their own 5G and LTE networks, leveraging something like Project Kuiper. And other organizations are actually looking at constellation satellite networks as well. So we see this as a big area, together with the entirety of space and exploration, as a great opportunity for organizations to develop various applications and drive innovation. Another area we're going to see is that everything will become smart everything. Even your devices that may not have certain intelligence built into it, may not have the capability to connect to the internet, can be transformed into a smart device. A great example is in convenience stores or fuel stations where closed-circuit TV is actually used for security purposes. Why not be able to turn those security cameras, which are generally not having any intelligence capabilities, into also providing the capability for customer insights? And that's what Amazon Panorama is designed to do. So launched last year at reInvent, it's a dedicated appliance that can interface with your existing traditional IP cameras in your closed-circuit TV network. What it will actually do is it will ingest those streams and do certain computer vision type analysis so it can take appropriate action based on the training that you've completed. So for example, our customer Parkland Fuels, which is a large convenience store and fuel station provider across the Caribbean and Canada, are actually transforming their closed-circuit TV across different retail stores to be smart so they can actually drive insights from customer movements within the store. For example, identifying the hot zones in the store so they can place the right products appropriately, or identifying the demographic of people who are actually shopping in the store and then cater to their actual needs. And so their vision or their view is to be able to deliver a very unique customer experience that's very customized to each individual customer that visits their store. Amazon One has actually recently launched an ability to perform payments without a technology device, rather using the palm of your hand. Now, everyone has a very unique palm that identifies us. And so Amazon One provides the ability for users to elect to actually make payments when they enter various stores. So they don't even have to pull out their mobile phone. They simply hover their palm over the reader, move into the store, pick up what they want, and then they can just walk out. And so right now, we're actually integrating this type of solution into our various Amazon stores across the United States. But we're working with a lot of other customers to actually apply this type of technology into their own retail outlets as well. Another area that we're going to see a dramatic amount of innovation is around sustainability. Now, sustainability is a focus or priority for a wide range of businesses around the globe. This includes Amazon, who are one of the co-founders of the Climate Pledge. The Climate Pledge is essentially committing to a zero carbon emissions by 2040. And so part of the Climate Pledge for Amazon is to reduce the waste that goes into packaging of items that are shipped when ordered online. Now, we ship billions of packages throughout the year. So customers were actually telling us we should be looking at ways to really optimize and be more efficient, reduce wastage of packages. And so using machine learning technology, by building models using Amazon SageMaker, Amazon Retail was able to design an automated process in the ordering pipeline that as part of the fulfillment process, the machine learning will choose the right packaging for the items that have been purchased by the customer. But it's not just based on size, it's based on the type of packaging, the type of package as well. So perhaps it's going to be something that could potentially leak. So it needs to choose the right packaging material for that particular item. One of the significant innovations that we've discovered through this type of machine learning process is using package mailer bags, which are essentially these very flat recycled paper packages that can replace a lot of boxes. They're 75% lighter, they take up a less amount of space than your traditional boxes, and therefore reduce waste significantly. And so the machine learning model will actually choose whether to use things like mailer bags for certain parcels that you might order. For those of you who might ordered certain parcels, you may have received these type of mailer bags before. Another customer that is really focused on sustainability is Grove Technologies. So they're essentially a startup that is focused on controlled environment agriculture, and more specifically, vertical farming or vertical growth. So the idea behind this is rather than leveraging vast amounts of land for growing crops and different types of agriculture, doing it in a more controlled environment using a vertical system with a combination of microsensors, computer vision, and even robotics, they can actually produce a higher quality of crops available for either human consumption or animal consumption. And in fact, they particularly target animal consumption. So they're able to produce high quality food that's available for animals, high nutrient capabilities, by using technology. combining IoT Core and IoT Greengrass with things like Amazon SageMaker, they have fully automated pipeline from ensuring the highest quality of crops from when it's planted as a seed all the way to where it's to be harvested. During that time, things like robotics will actually automatically place the trays those seeds are in to adjust to the right environmental factors that are required that have been discovered as the optimal settings for certain crops at different stages of their growth period. It's really an exciting industry to see in operation that's really going to reduce our environmental impact when it comes to agriculture. Then we also have, obviously, the last 12 months or 18 months that has changed the way that we operate, whether it's going to work, going to school, or just enjoying everyday life. We're going to see a continuation of virtual and remote life. Now, most organizations, even though we're starting to slowly get back to work, have indicated that a hybrid office approach is how they're going to move going forward, where they've quickly discovered that their employees like the flexibility of both working from home or remotely as well as in their office workspace. So they can have the best of both worlds. And so over the last 12 months, we've seen a significant uptake across the entire Southeast Asia region in technologies like Amazon Connect, which is a virtual contact center, Amazon Workspaces, which is your virtual desktop, and Amazon Workmail, which is your mailing service. And so not only are customers able to provision this type of capability very quickly, so if you recall, almost overnight, a lot of countries indicated that a work from home policy was to be put in place almost overnight, so customers had to adjust to that. So across the region, we had customers that were able to quickly provision Amazon Connect as their contact center so their agents could actually work from home. But the advantage is being able to integrate a lot of automation and machine learning intelligence into that contact center. So the end user experience will be a lot more seamless. Rather than having to wait on the line for long periods of time to talk to an agent, using things like chatbots and automation and being able to pull up information about customers as they call, rather than having to ask them on the line, really improves that overall customer experience where they can get their problem solved rather than having to wait online. In the elderly care field, again, over the last 18 months, it has been a bit of a struggle for elderly folks who need that in-house care to get access to it. It was either very expensive or it simply wasn't available. So one of our customers, Electronic Caregiver, have actually developed a virtual assistant platform, a virtual caregiver called Addison Care. And so Addison Care is essentially an ecosystem of smart technology in the person's home that allows the person to interact in a very natural way through the power of voice. So sometimes learning new technology can be very challenging for the elderly. But imagine that they can now interface with various medical services and support services using the power of the voice, whether it's interfacing for exercise or interfacing for emergency requirements. And so we're going to continue to see innovation in this particular area, especially around areas of computer vision, natural language processing, and general machine learning. And then finally, I just wanted to close off with one of our other customers, Moderna. So Moderna were one of the first pharmaceutical companies to bring a vaccine for COVID to market. It was quite impressive in what they were able to actually do. Because they're in the field of messenger RNA vaccines, which is a different way to deliver vaccinations rather than actually having the virus itself and injecting that into the body, it actually injects proteins to have your body react and counter the vaccine itself. And so they were able to produce this type of vaccine in their phase 1 trials within 42 days. And that was generally unheard of in the industry. Generally, it will take years, if not decades, to actually deliver these vaccines. And so leveraging the combination of high compute capacity, storage, and analytics and machine learning, they're able to deliver this vaccine even without actually touching the vaccine in the laboratories themselves, which is quite impressive. And so Moderna, along with other pharmaceutical companies, are also looking at things like natural language processing to digitize their lab operations so that the scientists can really focus on what matters, building the algorithms and doing the research rather than all the administration tasks. So that's just a quick view of what we're seeing trending in the market today and what we'll see over the next 5 years. I just want to use the last few minutes to go through one or two questions that might have come in. So Shweta, I might invite you back because there has been a question that's come in for you that I know the audience is eager for you to answer. So Shweta, the question is, for your speech speech-to-text AI service. Do you support any ASEAN languages today?
Yes, absolutely. So our speech-to-text API, which is called Amazon Transcribe, we support today Mandarin Chinese, Malay, and Indonesian languages. And there are a couple of more in the pipeline and hopefully will be announced soon. And also, since there's a large Indian community here in ASEAN region, let me also highlight the fact that we also support Hindi, Tamil, and Telugu on Amazon Transcribe. So yeah, a common use case that we are seeing in the region is the ability to automatically generate subtitles for videos at scale using Amazon Transcribe.
Thanks, Shweta. We do have time for one last question, and I'll take this one. It's regarding the evolution of application architecture, where I spoke about machine learning technologies being used for traceability and observability, and also continual resiliency. The question is that AI ops? And yes, in fact, it is AI ops. Now, AI ops is essentially the use of machine learning that can do all the analysis and insights for a lot of your operations across your infrastructure. So, for example, Amazon DevOps Guru will actually be continually inspecting and analyzing your DevOps landscape, whether it's individual services or how those services communicate with each other, even at the application level. It can take reactive as well as proactive responses to occurrences that are happening on the platform, whether it's for example, things like anomalies or certain vulnerabilities or suspect activity that's actually happening on the platform. If you think about the amount of data that we're collecting every day, leveraging something machine learning is going to be a logical next step in terms of IT operations, and that's where we have AI ops. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today for Q&A, so we'll probably close it off there. Shweta, if you want to come back, thank you for joining us, and hope to see you soon.
Yes, hope to see you soon. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, and just wanted to close off the session now with a closing note, ending note. We spoke a lot about innovation. We spoke about how innovation is allowing customers like Carnival Cruise Lines to really delight their customers and guests through a seamless onboard experience. Or how companies like Grove Technologies is using machine learning and other technologies to reduce environmental impact and footprint. But the key thing to remember is that innovation is actually not the goal. Innovation is a tool. It's a tool that you're going to use to deliver on your vision. Whether your vision is to be Earth's most customer-centric organization, like it is with Amazon, or with your vision is to deliver the best technology for your end customers. Never lose sight of that vision, and leveraging innovation as that tool will help you achieve that vision. In addition to that, innovation doesn't come about unless you experiment. And experimentation is not an experiment if you know what the outcome is. So we need an environment where we can actually minimize or lower that cost of experimentation. And so that's why we do see a lot of that innovation experimentation happening on the cloud today. Thank you very much for joining us this morning for this session. Of course, this is not the end of your learning experience. We do have other sessions going on today that hopefully will cater for your needs. Be sure to check the agenda to pick the sessions that you would like to see. And of course, we value your feedback. You really drive the way that we actually deliver these type of events. So your feedback is very important to us. So please fill out those surveys. Also, please stay connected with us through our various social media channels. So please feel free to follow us because we're regularly posting information, announcements, and other customer use cases for you. But until we see you next time, it's bye for now and enjoy the rest of the day.